Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the auger belt on your Murray snowblower. And here's the snowblower I'm working on today. It's an 11 horsepower 29-inch snowblower. Now before I replace the belt, I'm just going to give you a few symptoms that you may have on your snowblower that will indicate that the auger belt needs to be replaced. First of all, you may hear a lot of squealing. You may see some smoke coming out from this part over here. Also, you may find that the augers do not turn when the lever's down on the handlebars. And if they do turn freely like this, when you hit snow, you may find that they'll slow down or stop turning altogether. Again, these are just a few symptoms that you may have that indicates that your belt needs to be replaced. All you need to do this job today is a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 3/8 socket at the end, a 1/2-inch wrench, and in this video I will also be using a 9/16 wrench like this, a 3/8 ratchet with an extension and a 1/2-inch socket. And I'm also going to be using my cordless impact today as well. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, the tools I just showed you will suffice. The first thing I'm going to do for safety reasons is disconnect the spark plug boot. And I've also put a stool behind the snowblower to catch it when I separate the two parts. If you have a friend with you doing this job, it's going to be much easier. Now the first thing I'm going to do is loosen the two bolts that hold the belt cover. And there's one small bolt like this on each side. It's a 3/8. Again, you do not need to take it off, just loosen it up. And do the same on the other side as well. Once you get the cover off, you're going to see the two belts underneath. This here's the auger belt that I'm going to be replacing, and this is the drive belt. The drive belt is fine, but as you can see, this belt here has a bit of wear on it. It's not too bad underneath, but at the top it doesn't look too good. So as preventive maintenance, I'm going to be replacing that belt. Now at this point in the operation, you want to use your ratchet and your 1/2-inch socket. Now you're going to see a 1/2-inch bolt here right beside the tire. You need to loosen this bolt only, do not remove it. Just going to reach down in here and loosen the bolt. And I'm going to proceed to remove the two 1/2-inch bolts on top here. Now you might see that the blower might shift a bit. That's because these bolts have been removed. Now at this point I'm going to loosen the bottom bolt on the other side. And before I remove the two top bolts, I'm just going to remove the belt from the pulley here on the engine. Now I'm going to loosen the bolt that holds the pin that keeps the belt on the pulley. What you're going to need for this is your 1/2-inch wrench. Now just loosen the bolt and lift up the pin. Now I'm going to grab the belt and run it on top of the pulley here. If you can remove it like this by hand, that's good. Sometimes you have to turn the engine over by hand just to get the belt off. Next you're going to need a twist tie, and that's going to be to tie down the auger lever here on the handlebars. As you can see here, when I put the lever down, this part here moves up, and that needs to be in the up position like this to be able to remove the belt properly. And now the mechanism is away from the belt pulley. Now at this point I'm going to take off the two remaining bolts that are holding the snowblower together. And again, this is where the stool comes in handy. You can either have a stool or somebody hold the back of the blower for you while you remove the two bolts. Now in this next step, be very careful because when the bolts come out, the blower will separate itself. If you're doing this by yourself, you can put one hand on the handlebars while you remove the bolt. And as you can see, the back end of the blower will gently go down. As you can see here, the back end of the blower isn't totally leaning on the stool. This is one way to replace the belt. The other way is you can completely separate the two parts, but that takes more time and more work, and there's absolutely no need to do that. Now as you can see here, this part is away from the pulley. I've got enough room to remove the belt. At this stage here, all you want to do is remove the belt, so just pull on it. You want to get it through the parts here. And as you can see, it's very easy so far. I'm just going to twist the belt like this to get it out. And there you go. Well, I've got the old belt off. I'm going to give you a close look at it. The part that's more damaged on this belt is the top part. The underneath is not too bad. It's not cracked. It probably could last a little while longer. But when a belt looks this bad and it's not my snowblower, I don't want to take any chances. And here's the new belt. It's a Murray OEM belt and it's part number 585416. By the way, this belt comes from discountonlineparts.com. What I'm going to do is put a direct link underneath this video to where you can buy this belt online from them. And sometimes when you look up a part number for Murray, you have to put the letters MA at the end. And I'm just going to write the letters here because a lot of my YouTubers are from other countries. So the letters MA at the end. Briggs bought out Murray, so sometimes you have to add the letters MA at the end. Now I'm going to take the belt out of the cover and go install it. Now what you want to do is grab your belt, run it between the pulley here and the other parts, as you can see. You want to get it right underneath the pulley and get it on there. And on this side you want to squeeze the belt between the pin here and the pulley. And make sure you get the belt right around the pulley. So push down and move it over. And if you look down inside there, you can see that the belt is directly on the pulley. Make absolutely sure that the belt is on there completely like this. A good way to make sure the belt's on properly is grab it and pull up. If it's on the pulley properly, it will not come up. And also you can turn the pulley like this. Now at this point I'm ready to reassemble the two parts of the blower together. To do this, I'm just going to lift up the back of the blower like this. When you do that, you want to make sure this pin here will be above the belt. So you may want to hold the belt when you do this. Bring it up like that. If you're by yourself, make sure to hold up the back end of the blower so it does not separate. And then try to get a bolt in here as quick as you can. Now that I've got one bolt, I know that the blower will not dislocate itself. I'm going to double check again that this pin here is above the belt, and it is. And make sure the belt is still on the pulley at each end. And now you can put the rest of the bolts on each side. There should be 4 altogether, 2 on each side up here, and then you're going to need to tighten up the bolts at the bottom. If you find the holes don't line up properly when you go to put the bolts back on, just grab the blower here and lift it up a bit. As you can see here, it's going to line up the holes properly, and now I should be able to put the bolt on. And don't forget the second bolt here as well. And now with my 1/2-inch ratchet, I'm going to tighten up all 3 bolts here. You want these bolts fairly tight, but don't over tighten them. There's a lot of vibrations on snowblowers, so they do need to be tight. Now repeat the same process on the other side of the blower. Now you can remove the tie wrap from the handle here. The next thing you want to do is put this belt on the pulley here. To do that, just grab your belt, put it on the engine over here. While holding the belt like this with one hand, just grab the starter rope and turn the engine over. And that's why you want the spark plug boot off the spark plug so the engine doesn't start on you. Now the belt should go on nice and easy. Now if you find it very difficult to get the belt in front of the pulley like I am right now, what you need to do is loosen the nut here on the idler pulley. Chances are, because the belt was getting worn out, somebody adjusted the idler pulley in the past, because it is adjustable on this blower here. And now because of that, I'm going to readjust it again. I just pulled the pulley back and the belt went in nice and easy. Now I'm going to retighten the pulley. I'm going to check the play on the belt. I'm going to hold the auger lever down like this. While I'm doing that, I'm going to feel the belt tension over here. It feels pretty good. However, I am going to loosen the pulley again and push it forward approximately 3/16 of an inch toward the belt. This will just give the belt a little bit more tension when the lever's down. As you can see here, there's a lot of room for the pulley to slide forward in this groove, but I'm just going to push it approximately 3/16 of an inch. Maybe a 1/4 inch, and then tighten up the nut again. This will give the belt just that little extra tension when the auger lever's down. Before I check the tension on the belt though, I am going to push this little pin down like this and tighten up the bolt with my 1/2-inch wrench. Now here's the position of that pin. You just want it above the pulley like this. Now I'm going to check the auger belt tension by bringing the lever down. And now the tension is really good. Now some people ask me, how do I know if the tension is too tight on my belt or not? Well, if it's too tight, what's going to happen is that the belt's going to turn even when you release the auger lever, therefore causing the augers in front of the blower to continually turn even when you're not using the blower. This is a big safety hazard. It can hurt children or people alike, so just be careful when you adjust the tension on your auger pulley. And I'm just going to show you a quick tip to check this. When the lever's up like this and you turn over the engine, the auger belt should not turn with the engine, just like this. If you've got the lever released like I showed you and the belt turns with the engine when you're just turning it over by hand like this, this will cause all the augers to move, and again, that's the safety hazard I was talking about previously. If your belt's too tight, just loosen the nut, back off the pulley, and retighten it. Again, if the belt is too loose, you want to loosen the nut and push the pulley toward the belt. In this case, it's good. I'm just going to leave it the way it is and put the belt cover back on. And now to finish up the job, just reinstall the belt cover. When you install the belt cover, you want to line up the grooves here on each side of the cover to the 2 bolts on the side of the blower here that you loosened previously. So there's one here and there's one on the other side over here. And when you install the belt cover, you want to lift up the cable if you do have one on your blower. And now insert the groove into the bolt. And it went in on the other side as well. And now all you need to do is tighten up the bolts on each side of the cover. And now at this point, it's safe to reinstall the spark plug boot. At this point, I'm going to start up the blower just to show you that when it's idling, the augers do not turn, and to show you as well when the auger lever is down that they do turn. If you're going to start anything in your shop, make sure you have it well ventilated. Again, always be safe when you do a job like this and disconnect the spark plug boot before you start any job. Another thing too is if you have a snowblower that looks like this one but it's branded differently, it's probably the same procedure. A lot of snowblowers get their blowers from different manufacturers and just label them as their own, even though they may be the same as another brand. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe and check out my channel for hundreds of repair videos. Have a great day.